My name is Logan Dubil, and you are watching Campus Reform. Today I am at the University of Pittsburgh talking with college students about the 9/11 terrorist attacks. Do these students remember learning about the attacks in school at all? Do they think that we should just move on from 9/11 altogether? Let's find out. Do you know what the last major terrorist attack on U.S. soil was?
I actually do not. I want to say 9/11, but I feel like that's old.
I'm going to say 9/11.
I have no clue.
No, I don't.
It wouldn't be a shooting. No. Then no.
Uvalde, Texas. I would consider that terrorism.
9/11?
9/11?
9/11. Did you remember learning about 9/11 in school?
Very briefly, like at the end of my AP Gov class.
It was never something that anyone in my academic history kind of ignored.
We watched videos mostly.
They did actually do a section on Islamophobia as a result of 9/11.
Mainly videos, documentaries, mainly textbook readings.
We learned about personal feelings and personal connections to it.
In school, it was just that day for the most part.
My teacher mainly told his personal story, because we were talking about COVID.
They were pretty solemn about it and made it a really big deal because I wasn't even born.
So in the past years, we've kind of seen a push from higher education to move on from 9/11. For example, there was an editorial that was released by Penn State University Barron's campus saying that Americans kind of obsess over 9/11. Do you agree with the idea that we should move on from 9/11?
I think it's an important part of history, so no, it's fine. It's not a big, huge thing I've ever learned. It's been a day lesson.
A lot of people died. That sucks. I think that, they should be told that.
I think it's important to tell what actually happened and explain maybe that Islam wasn't the reason that happened.
The victors write the history books, and I think that's kind of wrong because it doesn't paint the full picture. The terrorists would be villainized, but there's obviously a reason why they went to crash planes into the Twin Towers.
I don't think anything should be omitted from it.
Maybe we could start to move away from it a little bit. In general, I think it will fade away.
One of the main critiques I have of the whole, specter of 9/11, it's sort of portrayed as oh, we're just the victims, and this, this happened out of nowhere. It's used to completely vilify, Middle Eastern people especially.
We don't learn about history, we repeat it. So just being aware of these things.
Would you kind of agree with the sentiment then that it might be time to move on?
I do think it's kind of insane how much TSA we have to go through just to go fly 9/11 and kind of probably instilled fear in a lot of people. People my age weren't there for it, so it's kind of oh, what was the big deal?
I don't mean this in an American exceptionalism way, but I think it was, pretty important.
Because there's such a focus on it, there is a lot of Islamophobia.
I don't think necessarily move on, but definitely the things that come with it, like Islamophobia. I think it still needs to be talked about, but definitely in a less racist way.
I don't think that tragedy is something that should be moved along from. It's not something that should be forgotten or dismissed.
I think it's kind of time to move on. We can't obsess over it.